All right, y'all. This week feels very low energy, which makes a lot of sense because we are gearing up for a new moon that we'll have on Friday. We are also going to have the peak, the second peak of the transit that has been occurring since October between Chiron and Jupiter, that has been bringing up a lot of wounds around home, family, childhood stuff, old identities clearing out. And maybe a lot of us are called to revisit some things from our past, either physically or mentally, energetically, in our dreams. In order to clear out that old version of ourselves that we've outgrown and that we can't take with us into the new beginning that is 2026. If you watch my TikTok update every single week that I do with my astrology board, or you get my emails, I do a play by play of the week ahead, of the transits of every single day and what the energy will be on every single day. And I just posted the TikTok video. It'll be sent out to my email list soon. So if you get my emails, look out for that soon. It comes every Sunday. If you already get my emails, you should be reading them in there, reading the update. You can either watch it on TikTok or read it in my emails. And yeah, this week, I just finished this week. So it's really fresh in my mind of what we have going on. It feels like there's just a lot of emotional heaviness. It feels like there's a lot of emotional transformation. And so our energy might be lower than normal. So we can really rest. I feel like we're going to be experiencing the most intense part of the transitional phase that we're all in at this time. And there might be things that feel like setbacks, that feel kind of frustrating or feel really challenging, but it is getting us to where we are going, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if it doesn't feel like it, or we don't see the physical results of that in our reality yet. This week is really a potent, powerful, important week of trusting in the unseen, of trusting in what we feel is coming for us, what we know is coming, or what we are building, maybe have been building for 2 to 3 years now. And it just hasn't come together in the ways that we have dreamed of, right? Just yet. But it is coming together. And everything that is happening right now in this in between space is getting us there, is getting us to the next chapter. So we have to really trust in that this week. We really have to remember our faith and remember what we're working towards, as opposed to the frustrating things that we're facing right now that feel like setbacks, right? So that's the biggest energy of this week. We also have, if I haven't said this already, I don't remember, we also have a new moon in Sagittarius on Friday. I think I did say this already. And then we have that peak between Chiron and Jupiter happening on Saturday. The new moon in Sagittarius is going to be challenging Saturn, but more tightly, more intensely, it will be challenging Neptune. So again, there still might be these things that we don't have full clarity about. We still don't feel like fully on the path of, but it's almost like we just can't see what's in front of us, like our vision is blocked in some way. But it's right behind something major that is probably going to be brought up this week for us to work through or look at, deal with within our mindset, within our belief system. Again, related to that old identity that's really been clearing out in a major way. And it feels like once we bust through that, like the new beginning is right on the other side of it. I'm literally seeing, like, in my mind's eye, a path of, like, we're all in this path, and there's this big, like, wall, like this translucent wall in front of us having the new beginning. And it's like we just have to go through it in order to get to the other side. And that feels like what these next week, kind of next 10 days will be about, is really going through that thing that maybe we didn't have clarity about before. What was kind of standing in the way, right, from us having what we want. That's really how I see it. I have inner vision, cognition, and human design, which, if you're not familiar, human design tells you about like your strongest intuitive ability, and mine is like visual. So I'm a very visual person. I get things in visuals when in my readings and in my classes, and that's how I teach, is very visual. But also, like, when I tune into energy, I get a lot of visual. So that's what I'm sharing with you right now, is what I'm seeing is this big kind of translucent, I don't know, thing that we have to really just step into It might be emotional or painful, or whatever it is for you is going to depend on your personal life and your personal chart and what's going on for you. But it does feel like there's this deeper part of ourselves that's kind of calling for our attention, um, in order for us to just kind of be there for it and to heal it. It sounds really meta to say out loud, but that's the energy I'm getting, is like, what is this part of you that's still kind of crying for your attention, that still kind of needs you to be there for it through all of this? And how can you be there with that version of yourself, or that part of yourself, that maybe didn't have support when it needed it, and now is calling for you to support it in the ways that you need so you can move forward, without this like part of you just wrecking havoc, it feels like. Let me know how that resonates with you, because I almost feel like I'm getting off topic, but that's what I'm seeing. That's the energy I'm picking up on, for this week. So there could be some really big breakthroughs that come emotionally within whatever healing you're doing. I know it's exhausting. I know it's really tiring. So take it easy on yourself this week. Do things for you, self-care, baths, whatever you need in order to support yourself through this, and lots of rest. The kind of worst thing you can do through this energy is like force yourself to be productive or do or blah blah, you know what I mean? Like, really rest when you need it, listen to your body, and honor your energy levels this week for sure. So those are big messages. Is there anything else I want to say about this week? Let me look at the actual transits. Because I think those are the most important things. I mean, like I said, we're going to have the new moon squaring Neptune. We have the sun squaring Saturn this week, if you want like the jargon of like what actually is happening. Can also find it if you got your astrology planner for 2025. It will be in the astrology planner for this week's transits of the nitty gritty of what is going on. Mars moves into Capricorn. We have the sun squaring Saturn on Tuesday. Mars in Capricorn is really this energy of like taking action on our systems and our structures and our foundations, maybe in home or career in some way, depends on what's going on in your chart, and I'll cover that in the horoscopes. In general obviously horoscope, because it depends on if you have anything cardinal signs or earth signs for how this is going to impact you on an individual level. But in general, it feels like a lot of us are just doing some further cleanup work around what needs change in our systems, our structures, foundations, anything that is, again, kind of holding us back or keeping us in weird energy as we step into the new beginning. Like, I feel like a broken record when I say that, because I've been talking about this all year. It feels like there's this big new beginning emerging for all of us, and life isn't going to be the same after it. And that really feels like what 2026 is, and we're going to start to see that really take hold in February, when we have the Lunar New Year on the same day as the new moon eclipse in Aquarius, I believe. Yeah, it's a new moon Aquarius eclipse on the 17th of February. We have the Lunar New Year starting that same day, and then 3 days later on the 20th, we have the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. So that is giving the energy of big new chapter, big new beginning. I talk about that more in my recent YouTube video, and I'll also be talking about it more in the 2026 update that I plan to post soon. So look out for that. Make sure you have notifications on for my channel and are subscribed, and you'll be notified when I post the 2026 video along with all the horoscopes for each rising sign in that video. It's taking me a little bit of time, but it is coming soon, to do all horoscopes for every sign for the year ahead. So look forward to that coming soon. And yeah, that's all I want to say about this week. Let me know your rising sign. Let me know how your horoscope resonates as always. And let's get into it. So Aries rising, we start the week off with Mars in your area of career now. So there could be a lot of action that you're taking around what's going on in your career, changes you've wanted to make there. This could really put some identity things at the forefront for you and bring up some further identity wounds for you of what's going on, to really look at anything within your psyche that really needs healing related to some old identity that you've been dealing with, like doing a lot of work around not repeating old patterns and old cycles from old versions of yourself, and really fully stepping into some brand new chapter. It also feels like there could be something subconscious that comes up for you, Aries, this week, maybe related to that. Like, I feel like you're becoming aware of a lot more subconscious things, patterns, wounds, that maybe have been holding you back from whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is new that you want to step into. And there could be a lot of, I almost said identity shifts, which that goes without saying. We've been talking about that for weeks, Aries, but also like perspective shifts that are coming from that too. There could be some emotional shift around money as well, Tuesday into Wednesday, that happens for you. And then it feels like whatever does occur on Tuesday around your finances or your resources, there's this big emotional shift in your perspective of life and how you're choosing to view things, maybe related to belief system work you've been doing, mindset work. It feels like if you've been reading self-help books or meditating more, it's almost like you're really seeing life differently as we move forward this week, especially when we have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Those are big themes for you, is really shifting your perspective and stepping into some new philosophy of life, or just again mindset, like viewing things differently than you ever have before. And going to be a big focus of the new moon for you as well, Aries, that we have on Friday night, is really setting intentions to step into some new version of yourself as it relates to um, what you're learning, what you're researching, and what that is, thus how that is impacting the way you see the world around you. There could be some new beginning or change you're making as well with international travel, long distance travel. Could also apply to that too, maybe taking action or getting clarity to take action in those areas. Higher education could also be a way that it's showing up for you, maybe wanting to dive deep into some new educational pursuit or something like that, again, in order to really gain some perspective and change the way that you're viewing the world, and maybe to teach others with that knowledge that you're gaining. So that could be a theme Friday. And then as we move into the weekend on Saturday, it feels like there's something, that just something around that still doesn't feel like clear. Something still doesn't feel like clicked into place. But I do feel like the focus instead is going to be put onto your career, maybe what's going on there and what that's challenging about your family life or your home life, as well as identity wounds and triggers that are coming up for you to shift also. So that's going to be a big theme of the weekend. Doubly so on Sunday, as we are going to have the moon adding conflict and tension from your career onto areas of home, family, your sense of self. And we begin Capricorn season 2 on Sunday. So there's this big focus on what's going on in your career, what's changing there, and what it is bringing up for you to change about yourself or with your home or family. So that is your week ahead, Aries. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of relationships. So you could be really emotionally focused on the people in your life at the start of the week. We also have Mars moving into your area of perspective. There could be something you're realizing you want to take action on as it relates to long distance travel or some sort of educational pursuit, that could be kind of building. There could be momentum building around that this week in order for you to feel like, okay, yes, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to move forward. But it also feels like, again, the emotional focus is on spending time with people that nurture you, spending time with people that support you, and not kind of overextending yourself. So make sure that you're really honoring your energy levels this week. There could be a kind of like, how do I say, like, up and down with them. There could be this I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It just really trust your energy levels this week, because it feels like they're a little wonky. But there could be something positive that comes through a person in your life, or something that gives you clarity about a long-term goal or vision you want to step into or have been stepping into on Tuesday. Could come through somebody you're spending more time with, could come through a romantic partner. Really anyone in your life could bring up this clarity and this emotional sense of like, okay, actually this is what I want to do. I feel more secure about moving in this direction. That could could extend into a major shift that you have on Wednesday too. Like maybe you hang out with the person Tuesday and then you're thinking about it, and Wednesday you get some big shift around it. It feels like it could also put tension on you changing some version of yourself or stepping into a new identity. As we get into Wednesday, later on Wednesday, rather, the moon moves into your area of resources. So there could be this shift on, okay, well, what resources do I need to do this? Or what do I need to organize with my investments, taxes, debt, money, things like that in order to step into this thing that you're getting clarity around. There could also be, for most of this week, challenges between your resources, investments, debt, taxes, inheritances, things like that. Maybe even like your spiritual transformation or awakening, and what's going on with your community or your long-term goals. It's almost like, okay, I've been really disciplined with this. Like, why is it not coming together? Or why is this a setback that's occurring for me in this area? And it's like I talked about at the beginning of the video in the intro, just really trust in the divine timing of everything right now, and don't get caught up in the like, why is this been stalled or whatever. Like it's all coming together in the way that it needs to. So really just have faith and trust in that, in the divine timing of whatever this is for you. On Friday, amplify that, because there's a new moon in Sagittarius in your area of resources. So there's really this need for you to set intentions of like, okay, what exactly do you want to create? What belief systems or maybe have been standing in the way of you having that creation, and how can you reframe them? How can you move forward from a place of like what you want, having what you want already, instead of like, oh, it's not working, blah, blah, blah. Like, how can you focus on the dream and it being done and built in the way that you want, instead of how it hasn't come together yet or whatever. Like, right? Like not focusing on the negatives, but focusing on maybe being a little bit of a blind optimist. And like it kind of, I don't know why my words aren't coming through, but it's like really focusing your energy instead on what is going to support you in having the thing, versus like not like getting bogged down in the negativity of it not working out. It's a big mindset shift that needs to happen for you. And that will especially be your focus over the weekend, as on Saturday, the moon moves into your area of perspective, of higher education, of needing to maybe view things differently, of your mindset. There could be something that there's this big emotional drive to act on changing something about how you view the world around you, or act on some sort of like educational pursuit or long distance travel. Like I said, there's this big push in that direction, especially on Sunday as we begin Capricorn season in this area of your chart. There's also going to be a challenging thing that happens between whatever wounds you've been dealing with healing in your subconscious and maybe communication. I feel like that's why I can't get words out for you, Taurus. It's almost like there's something that you have to like really go within to deal with in terms of your communication, and what maybe is blocking something about that, sharing ideas or information in the ways that you want to, maybe again related to this deep-seated subconscious wound. And it's like you can't ignore it anymore on Sunday. It's going to be brought up to the surface for you to really look at. It could impact your physical health, or there could be this need for you to do something differently about your physical health to support whatever that is, and really balance out your physical and mental health in ways that you need. So that is your week ahead, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of physical health and work. There could be some clarity you get around what needs to change about that, or what you need to take action on. It could be related to some educational pursuit, something you're wanting to invest in as it relates to like strengthening your knowledge in this area to step into a new career direction or something like that. Could also relate to long distance travel, and getting more clarity about that. But it could also feel like there's this emotional friction or tension, challenges between what you're able to do and what you want to do at this time. Mars moves into your area, into Capricorn, and moves into your area of resources as well on Monday. So there could be this focus of suddenly kind of putting your energy on maybe cleaning things up or restructuring things within your financial picture, especially as it relates to debt, taxes, other people's money, things like that. As we get into Tuesday, there could be some big breakthrough or shift around what is changing in your career and what new direction you're stepping into. But it could also feel like something about a relationship or somebody in your life maybe adds some challenges to that or some tension to that that you didn't expect. But it feels like as we get into Wednesday, that clears, and there's maybe this emotional breakthrough that happens, maybe related to somebody else in your life, or maybe with that one person, you maybe get emotional clarity about how to move forward with whatever was challenging before, and how to maybe approach it differently so that it doesn't feel as challenging moving forward. It feels like there's this kind of wave of emotional clarity you get from whatever this is, even though it was really frustrating. It does kind of force you to evolve in ways that are needed for you. There's a lot of wounds this week coming up around your money, community, maybe like related to your long-term goals and visions, are kind of like wounds related to your long-term goals and visions, and an old identity that's clearing out is putting direct conflict on how to expand in your money related to this career shift that you're making. So it's like you're kind of learning how to balance all of these things this week and really lean on your faith, or maybe really lean on other people that help you to remember your faith, um, in order to make the most of this time, as opposed to like thinking you need to have it all figured out right here, right now. Like it's coming together, even if it's not in the timeline you expected. The new moon can help you with this as well. Maybe calling in a new person in your life to really cultivate your faith more, or your sense of belief in what you're doing, a sense of belief in yourself. It feels like there's momentum towards aligning with new people with this new moon we have in your area of relationships on Friday. And then on Saturday, it really feels like there's some maybe more triggers that could come up around your community, long-term goals, a sense of self that really can't go with you into whatever this career venture is that you're stepping into, or that you're changing about your work or career, money. It really feels like you're called to look at this deeper so that you clear it on Saturday. And there could be these kind of childhood things or psychological things that come up in order for you to be able to shift through them in ways that are going to help you moving forward, as opposed to keep you stuck repeating some old pattern. Um, so there's a lot of momentum towards there's a lot of energetic momentum happening for you this week, Gemini. It's like underneath the surface stuff. So you might have low energy. Like I said at the intro of this video, really take it easy on yourself this week. And don't expect, yourself to be super productive or super active. Like it feels like there's this need to really go within, to look at what is calling for an evolution within yourself. Especially on Sunday as we begin Capricorn season in your area of psyche and inner world, other people's resources, but also vulnerability. So there might be something that, again, is brought up in you like a wound, and you're needing to maybe call on others to support you through it, or help you deal with it and shift it in ways that are going to really help it clear out so you can move into your new chapter. And that's your week ahead, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of creative passions. So there might be something you're wanting to take action on as it relates to that. There might be a lot of emotional drive towards creating, maybe channeling emotions that are coming up that are feeling heavy this week into what you're creating, what you're doing. There could also be some challenges or friction between that and maybe resources in some way, or deep, vulnerable, intimate relationships, in a transformation you're wanting to have in that area of your life as well. Monday, 2, we have Mars moving into Capricorn, into your area of relationships. So there's a lot of momentum towards partnership, and maybe you're wanting to date somebody, you have been dating somebody new, and there's a lot of like momentum happening with it, and a lot of energy towards it that maybe is kind of fueling this creativity that's coming up for you as well. That's a huge focus for you right now, and what you're doing, what you're creating, really acting from a place of inspiration and joy and freedom. As we get into Tuesday, the moon adds tension to Uranus in your area of long term goals and vision. So there could be some tension between maybe a community or social media, or like maybe you've been spending an unhealthy amount of time on social media and you're like, wait, I got on here to create, or I got on here to do this. Like, why am I getting distracted? So it kind of feels like Tuesday brings that up for you so you can look at it and really discern, how do I say that? Like practice more discernment between where you want to spend your time versus where you don't, and what kind of fuels you creatively. Again, I think your relationships are really doing that for you in a big way right now. You might be spending time with crafty people or seeing somebody new that really like kind of has you in this inspirational creative state, and it's just important you make more time for that than habits that don't serve you. There could be more clarity that comes up around that and what intentions you need to set or what things you need to restructure in order to have that discipline with doing the things that are actually going to motivate you and help you and inspire you moving forward. That could be a big theme of the new moon we have in Sagittarius on Friday. Um, it is really what kind of new intentions or what new beginning are you having with what you do on a daily basis, your structures, your schedule, your, you know, your workout routine, or what you do for work and how you make money with it. It's like you're getting a lot more clarity on what to do about things. Even if it feels like maybe you can't act on them right away, or there's something you need to pick up or learn about in order to act on them. It's like, okay, but what are you, you know, maybe write it down. Like, what are you getting clarity around to act on, even if it doesn't feel like you can? There might be ideas flowing, there might be things in your mental space flowing about how to move forward, how to go about whatever this is. On Saturday, it feels like there's something that comes up around that, maybe with a relationship, because there could be something that is triggering within your career or within your public image. Maybe you go somewhere, and there's something triggering that happens that maybe brings up an old version of yourself, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, I've been evolving, I've been growing, I've been changing. Like, I didn't know that version of me was still there. But it's brought up so that you see that it kind of is there and why and what to do about it. And there might be somebody in your life that helps you to work through that over the weekend as well, especially on Sunday. And there could be more even brought up around it on Sunday. And there's maybe somebody in your home or your family that's helping support you as it does come up. So that's your week ahead, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Leo rising. Hi, Leo rising. We start your week off with a moon in your area of home and family. You might be emotionally focused on those things at the start of the week, although there could be something earlier on Monday that maybe is challenging between your home and your relationships, and maybe a big transformation that's happening with people in your life, or who you're around, who you're spending time around. There could be friction between those two areas. But that doesn't last super long on Monday, and then it feels like there's more space to emotionally focus on what you wanted to focus on in your home and your family. We also have Mars and Capricorn now in your area of work, so work could start to be really busy come the end of the year, especially come the new year. There's a lot of momentum towards what you're doing on a daily basis for work, maybe physical health as well, wanting to start to go back to the gym or run, or there could be some new activity that you're wanting to take on, maybe related to whatever was frustrating you earlier in the day. As we get into Tuesday, there's kind of this emotional tension between what's going on for you in work and career, and what's going on in your home and family, but it does feel like there's support between that bringing up something in your inner world to work through. It's almost like, I don't even know how to explain this. How would I explain this? That's a more helpful question to ask than saying, I don't know. Like, how would I explain this energy? It's almost like, okay, things might be not be looking like how you want them to, or working out the way that you thought they would, but you feel different about it. You feel better than you would have like maybe a year ago or even a few months ago about what's happening. So there's this inner sense of support, although things on the outside might not match up yet to how you feel on the inside about it. There could also be something on Tuesday that's challenging between your romance, your dating, or creative passions or pursuits, and what's going on with your money, maybe what's going on with debt or taxes or other people's money, maybe even vulnerability or intimacy. It feels like there's some kind of friction between those two areas of your life as well. But on Wednesday, it does feel like it clears up a little bit. And there's maybe some more emotional, mental clarity or emotional drive towards sharing some new passion project, or maybe whatever's going on in your dating that's been a focus, or your romantic life, but could be creative passions, or children, even if that applies to you. There's some like something you get mental clarity around that's like, oh, this is how I want to go about this, or this is how I want to do this. Um, Even if it again isn't here yet for you to actually act on or do anything about, it's like you know how you want to move forward. You know what you have a plan. Is what I'm getting at. Like you're developing a plan this week. And it feels like Friday with this new moon we have in Sagittarius, there's this momentum towards, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. There's this energy of setting intentions and start having this new beginning with however this is showing up for you. It could also very well relate to your belief systems and what's going on in your inner world. Again, big focus on your inner world these past few weeks, Leo. And that's kind of bleeding into your dating or bleeding into your creative passions or pursuits. Things like that could also maybe put challenge or friction on what's going on, the change that's happening in your career, and what you need to evolve, or what you really need to take action on in your creative things, in order to have a change that you want in your career. And there's this need to be really disciplined, with acting on it. And as we get into the weekend, there's more emotional clarity that comes, maybe more emotional momentum towards acting on whatever this thing is, or setting up a schedule for yourself, a routine for yourself that's going to be helpful, moving forward to do what you want to do. But also, there's some old version of yourself that's challenged Saturday and especially on Sunday, around whatever this is. There could be this belief comes up, imposter syndrome, or this belief of like, am I really meant to be doing this? And it's kind of like you questioning yourself, but the energy is really, it's challenging, it's conflicting, it's not fun, but it's bringing up these things so that you see them for what they are, lies and just fears, which aren't really real, so that you shift and you have this new beginning with, with the momentum of nothing from the past dragging you down. Does that make sense? So that's how you end out your week, Leo. You also begin Capricorn season on Sunday in your area of work. So a lot of momentum towards what you're building in work and what's changing about that for you, and really starting to do the things, do the practical stuff, lay the foundations, put in the systems and the structures into place to have this new beginning. So that's your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Virgo rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of communication, day-to-day errands as well. You could be really busy at the start of the week, and there could be these tensions or these challenges between maybe what you need to do for work, or what is changing about your work, or what you want to change, and what you're emotionally pulled to do, to run to an errand you need to run, or somebody you need to talk to, or somewhere you need to go. It feels like there's maybe a really full day for you, and it's kind of challenging your ability to focus on some sort of transformation that's happening in your work or health as well. But I do feel like as we get into Tuesday, there's maybe a breakthrough that comes with that. There's clarity that comes around whatever that is and however it's showing up for you. It could really challenge a perspective that you've been viewing life from, or something that you've been needing to look at differently as it relates to that. There could be ideas or information that come to help you shift, and kind of work through whatever challenges, evolve them in ways that are going to be helpful for you moving forward. That amplifies on Wednesday as the moon moves into your area of home. There could be some pattern that you're becoming aware of, from your home or from family, from childhood, maybe even and how that's kind of playing into this feeling of being challenged with balancing all the things that you're trying to balance. But it does feel like, you know how to do the work, you know what to do, you know what practices in order to support you in moving through this and having kind of grace with it and ease, a little bit more ease than maybe other people would to look at these things. There could also be something about your home that's challenging a relationship or vice versa. And it's kind of not an easy thing to be faced with, or to be trying to learn how to navigate. So there's something about that too, that there's this need for you to, again, really focus on what is going to support you best through this time, what is going to help you have ease with this transition or these challenges, and what in you needs to evolve in order to make the most of this or see it differently and see it in a way that's actually going to benefit you versus maybe getting stuck in the frustrations of it. It also feels like a big theme of the new moon in your area of home that we have on Friday. There could be something happening with a home in some way that's like, okay, I actually want to do it differently, or this is where I want to live. Or maybe wanting to travel back to family or something temporarily. There's maybe something that emerges that you realize you want to do with the new moon in your area of home. But it could also feel like things aren't super clear about it because maybe there's somebody in your life that's, I don't know, causing it to not feel clear or something. Let me know how that resonates with you. That feels really specific, but it feels like there's just something you're not sure about within a relationship or somebody in your life that is maybe adding challenge to what you want to do or what you want to change there. There could be more of that on Saturday and into Sunday as we have this rare transit going on between. I don't feel like I didn't start that off right. Like, we have this big thing happening, and it's been happening since October. I feel like I've been talking about this almost every week for you, Virgo. There's this identity that's being called into question about support and resources, vulnerability and intimacy, maybe even, and like debt, taxes. There's this old identity in you related to all of that stuff that's really being challenged right now, that's really being called into awareness so that you can expand into these new goals and these new visions of your life, or this new community you stepped into that you want to have and you want to create. Like, there's some expansion that's happening with that area of your life that's calling into question an old identity that can't come with you into this new chapter, into the ways that you're expanding with all of these other things. And so there's going to be a lot that comes up over the weekend around that and really challenges you to shift it and to evolve it in ways that you really need, that are going to be helpful for you moving forward, and maybe even give you more creative inspiration or bring in new ways of making money for you or other money opportunities to support you with whatever this is and moving into fully this new chapter. So that's the week ahead for you, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of money. There could be something emotionally at the start of the week that is adding tension or challenges to your money, maybe related to some big shift that's happening within your creative pursuits or ventures. This could show up with dating or with children, romance as well, depending on what's going on in your life and in your chart. But there's some emotional tension or challenge between like what you want to do with money and what you need to change about it, and also like what's changing about your creative pursuits and passions, and maybe how you're sharing those with the world. So there's a challenge that comes up with that on Monday, but it feels like it's pressuring you to evolve in ways that are necessary, so you are actually aligned with what you're doing in those areas moving forward. Also on Monday, Mars moves into your area of home and family. There could be a lot more momentum in things you're doing in your home or with family. There could be just a lot more momentum and action and things moving a lot more. Like if you've been working on a home project or wanting to find a new home or something like that, it feels like there's a lot more momentum beginning in that area of your life and a lot more focus there starting this week. As we get into Wednesday, the moon is going to add tension to another area of money for you. This could bring up things around resources, around long term goals with money, investments, taxes, debt, things like that. There could be something you're changing about those things, and there could be emotional tension between those two areas, how you're able to support yourself versus how you want to be supported, or things like that are going to come up Tuesday and Wednesday. And it feels like there's maybe a breakthrough that comes around that, of like, oh, I just need to see it differently, or oh, what if I do this, or to bring in more money, or shift my finances, or shift my resources to better support me moving forward. It feels like that's the focus. And then you might get more clarity around that later on Wednesday as the moon moves into your area of ideas and communication and belief system. So you could get maybe some emotional clarity around maybe, again, this perspective you need to have, or this perspective shift that needs to happen around money and around resources in order to move in this new direction. As we get into Friday, we're going to have the new moon in Sagittarius in your area of ideas and information. So there might be something you get clarity around, like, oh, I want to do it differently, or I want to do this differently. I want to share this more. I want to talk about this. This is how I wanted to go about that. There could be something that changes maybe with your long distance, or short distance travel as well. Maybe wanting to do something differently in your day to day, like how you go about things, your routines, your errands, and again, how you share yourself, how you communicate, your mindset. There could be something about that that maybe challenges your work, maybe getting more emotional clarity about what you want to do on a daily basis for work, for money. But it could come, that breakthrough could come at the result of a challenge or a conflict that happens between those two areas. Maybe what you have been doing for money or work, you just don't resonate with anymore. And so there's this, okay, something that is coming up to really have you look at that, so that you shift it and move into new directions with it that are more beneficial for you and more aligned with what you actually want to be doing, what you want to be creating, and what you want to be sharing, and actually like true passions for you moving forward. As we get further into the weekend on Saturday, there could be something around that, around what you're doing for career and work, that's maybe challenged through a relationship. There could be some big wound or trigger that comes up on Saturday, maybe even Sunday as well. Kind of feels like a whole weekend thing of looking at these deeper triggers within yourself, and really doing a deep dive so you can do a cleanup into what needs to go, what you maybe did or started in your career or with work that was in an old version of yourself, and you've changed and you've grown and you've stepped into something new. So how do you need to bring that into what you have or what you want to change for work or for career? Does that make sense? Like there's these wounds that come up to show you what needs to change and what needs to evolve, because it's aligned with a new identity that you've stepped into, in this new chapter that you're beginning with all of those things. So that's your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Oh, lordy. Hi, Scorpio rising. We start your week out on Monday with the moon in your area of you. There could be a big kind of epiphany you have as we start out the week on what you want to step into as it relates to a new version of yourself. There feels like this sense of emotional renewal of you. It could also challenge what change you're wanting to make, though, in your home, calling for you to evolve how you view life, how you view your ability to be supported, um, by yourself, by your ventures, by your creative pursuits and money. Like really, there's this big inner world shift happening for you, Scorpio, this big transformation. And it could be really called to the surface at the start of the week, maybe through some things that feel challenging or feel frustrating, but it is all coming to the surface so that you look at it, so that you change what needs to be changed to have this new direction. Tuesday into Wednesday, it feels like there's tension between this change that you're experiencing and what's going on in your relationships, or what's changing about your relationships, the people you have around you. There also feels, starting this week, a lot more momentum in how you're sharing yourself, your ideas, communicating yourself differently, maybe looking or acting from a shift in your belief systems. It feels like there's a lot of momentum towards sharing new ideas, sharing information, taking action on speaking up for yourself and sharing your voice in ways that maybe you held back from before. There also feels Tuesday and Wednesday, like there's tension between your area of money and what's going on in your creative passions or pursuits. But that kind of propels you into some evolution around that to have a better experience with what's going on in those two areas. As we get into Thursday, there could be emotional clarity around what's going on with your money and what maybe belief systems were impacting your experience with money that were holding you back from having this new beginning or this stepping into this new direction. It feels like there might be something on Friday that comes up around that too early on Friday that maybe calls into question values and just ways of dealing with money and resources and maybe even relationships too, like what all kind of is tied in together there that's affecting your money and your creative passions in ways that you don't want it to be. Later on Friday we have the new moon in your area of money, so there's this big potential for you to really set intentions and have a new beginning with finances, with what's going on there for you, what you are believing gets to be true for you about money, how you're making it, how you're spending it, all that kind of stuff. As we get into the weekend, the moon moves into your area of ideas and information. Like I said, there's this big momentum this starting this week and ending out over the weekend of what you're sharing, how you're sharing yourself, and maybe what belief systems are playing into that, into communication styles that either have been serving you up until this point or you're realizing don't serve you anymore. So there needs to be a change there. And you're really stepping into some new form of communication, of sharing yourself, of your ideas. Maybe that's putting yourself out there on social media or whatever it is. It's like you're really needing to be disciplined with it and be structured with it. And there's a lot of energy towards that over the weekend. It could also though challenge again your belief systems and really challenge these ways of going about life, things that you have been ways that you of life that you've been how do I say that ways that you've been viewing life, like it's gonna challenge an old identity for you to really look at so that you shift out of on especially on Sunday. Later on Sunday there's going to be maybe a lot of challenges between what's going on in your day to day and what you want to heal about what your relationship with work or an old identity that you've had with what you do for work that no longer resonates with you, so you can step into something new and something different and really not have any remnants from this old version of yourself with you moving forward. So that is your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of the subconscious. There could be some things on Monday that come up around your belief systems, your mindset, your communication styles, how you're wanting to share information differently and share ideas differently. There could be something about that challenges an emotional thing within your subconscious and really kind of brings up maybe an emotional release for you as well on Monday. Another thing that begins on Monday is Mars in Capricorn in your area of money. So there could be a lot of momentum towards what you're doing to make money or changing something about that, structuring something about your money differently in order to bring more in or just be more systematic with what you do with money and your resources in general. As we get into Wednesday, it feels like there's this big emotional clearing or this big shift emotionally around your work and your subconscious. Again, maybe what you're changing about how you share yourself and share your ideas that's bleeding into your work and what maybe subconscious things were going on underneath the surface. To stagnate any change or maybe bringing about like more realizations of what you want to do and how you want to change certain things. It does feel like there's some big breakthrough emotionally that comes through with that, maybe in a kind of chaotic way that you didn't expect on Wednesday. Later on Wednesday, the moon moves into your area of you. So there's this sense of emotional renewal. You might wake up feeling differently, or you might wake up feeling refreshed on Wednesday, but there could also be like some challenges with your energy as we get further into the week. Because there's there's these things coming up, these inner breakthroughs and things, but there's also challenges and conflicts and things not working super well together with each other. As much as there is change, it's happening at an energetic level. But in your actual world, there could be some things that are maybe really frustrating you or really challenging you, in order to have you evolve. Um, that that they lead to these breakthroughs, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. As we get into Friday, there could be some, again, challenges between you, your emotions, and maybe what's going on with home or family. But we are going to have a new moon later on Friday in your area of you. So there's a lot of potential and momentum towards having some new beginning with your identity, with your sense of self that maybe directly challenges an old version of you related to your childhood or your where you're from or your home or your family, what you feel of, or yeah, what you attribute to being your home. There could be a lot of friction between the changes that you're experiencing and what is going on within your home or your family life. Then as we get into the weekend, there's really a lot of, I mean, this is building all week, but there's really a lot of, excuse me, conflicts happening between maybe romance, dating, or creative passions and things, and an old identity that has created the life that you're currently living as it relates to that stuff. And you no longer want to keep living that way. So there's this tension between there's this push and pull between your old life and your new life, and you're realizing what needs to change, even though you might not be able to change it right away, to have this new beginning and to have this new chapter with all of those things. um, Saturday, there could be a lot of momentum towards taking action on something with money or changing something about money emotionally. And then on Sunday, it feels like those challenges that have been building all week within your creativity, your passions, maybe dating or romance and like intimacy could really all be brought up at the surface. There could also be some big money stuff that's coming up for you over the weekend as well, and really challenging an old identity related to how you saw or viewed money before, so that you step into a new relationship or a new identity around those things that are ultimately more supportive for you moving forward. And that is your week ahead, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn rising. We start your week off on Monday with Mars moving into your area of you, Mars moving into Capricorn. This is going to create this emotional, not emotional, but renewal of your drive, renewal of your energy. There might have been a lot of subconscious stuff coming up for you and being a focus of your life these last few weeks, and months, maybe even. And at the start of the week, it's kind of like this, oh, okay, a fog is kind of lifted. I'm feeling more renewed. I'm feeling more energized, maybe even to move into this new thing or whatever it is. But trust your energy as it ebbs and flows this week, because that also could be a result of this. Especially maybe on Tuesday and into Wednesday, is we're going to have the moon challenging what's going on in your creative passions and pursuits. There's a lot of change that you're realizing you want to make to your maybe dating, romance, could apply to children. If not any of those things, then your creative passions and pursuits, like what you're putting out into the world, what you're inspired to create. There could be a lot of tension between you and your long-term goals and what you want to do and what's changing about all of that stuff on Monday and Tuesday. Could also feel emotionally challenged between where you want to go and what kind of life you want to live and what's going on with money. That's in this transition right now that doesn't feel solid yet. So you're like, okay, I want to do this thing, but I don't have the resources to move in that direction yet. Like, and you really have to have faith that it's all coming together. And this comes down to you believing in yourself at a subconscious level, right? And that's a huge focus for you as we end out this week. There could be some breakthrough shift around that on Wednesday, maybe related to a creative venture or passion or something like that. And then as we get into later on Wednesday and then really into Thursday and Friday, there's a lot of emotional focus on your inner world, your subconscious, the belief systems that are playing into you having this thing that you want, and embarking on this new beginning. It does feel like there's challenges between maybe stuff coming up around communication, insecurities, or feeling imposter syndrome or something. And it's really not easy to face this stuff, but there's something you're realizing you really need to just be disciplined with as it relates to some new belief or some new practice that's going to help you move forward and make the most of how these challenges are showing up for you. And then later on Friday, we have the new moon in Sagittarius in your area of subconscious. So there's really this need for you to have faith and firmly step into and set intentions around this new beginning that you are creating. It's just a matter of time before it all comes together. As we head into the weekend, there is a sense of emotional renewal on Saturday, but also Saturday and into Sunday, there's maybe challenges and wounds or triggers brought up within your home or your family, maybe through a relationship, or somebody in your life that's kind of challenging you to look at these things about your identity and these ways of viewing yourself that have really hindered you from moving forward and having this new beginning, right? It's like, what else needs cleanup? What else needs looked at and changed about me, and my identity and how I view myself in order to step into the new and have it fully align. So that is your week ahead, Capricorn. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of career. There could be something on Monday about your career that you're pulled to emotionally, but it could challenge some sort of transformation that you're in, and that you're wanting to make around your sense of self or your identity. We also on Monday have Mars moving into your area of subconscious. So there could be some maybe subconscious things coming up as we head into this week around anger or things about like your inner world that need restructured. As we get into Tuesday, there could be some big emotional shift between your career and your home. It feels like the two areas have been putting tension on each other for quite some time, and there could be some something that kind of like almost like the rubber band snaps, and you get clarity about how to act or what you need to change about home or family in order to really have what you want in both of those areas of your life. Especially on Wednesday, there could be some clarity that comes through around that maybe early in the morning. And then later on Wednesday, the moon moves into your area of long-term goals and visions, where there's been a lot of focus for the past couple weeks on what is changing about your maybe community or who you're around or what you actually want to like, what you want your life to look like. That's different than how it has been looking. And that new vision that's emerging for you that could be putting some tension or adding challenges to your financial picture. It could be conflicting with what your current financial picture is, right? So there's this need to really be disciplined with what you want to change about your money to have this change in your that lines up with your long-term goals and visions, and what about that is changing. Another thing that's building this whole week is conflict between your communication style, maybe an old identity or an old way of communicating or sharing ideas and information that you can't take with you into this new chapter beginning. It's being really challenged by what's going on in your work or what's going on with your physical health, or maybe in your day-to-day like schedule. There's things that are really challenging about what you're having to do or where you're having to go on a daily basis that you don't resonate with anymore. It's like you're just going through the motions of what you used to do because it's what you have done, but there needs to be a change around it. So there could be a lot coming up around that too, especially as we end out the week and get into the weekend. There could be something around that you get some breakthrough from, and in this oh, okay, this is actually how I want to go about this. This is actually how I want to do it differently. But it could really, the tension and the challenges and the conflict, the feeling of it being challenged could really come to a head on Sunday. That doesn't feel super good, but it's happening so that you make the shift that you need to move into the direction you actually want to be going, instead of just doing the same thing you've always done because it's what you have done, right? But it's like, no, you need to restructure how you think about that. And so that's going to really come up in a big way over the weekend. So that is your week ahead. Aquarius, let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of perspective, of the area of long-term goals, your vision for long-term, how you're viewing life around you. There's a lot more momentum towards like moving in some new direction with how you're viewing life, but it could also very much challenge, especially early on Monday, a subconscious belief or what's changing about your subconscious. Like there could be this emotional push and pull between what you need to change and transform and what kind of transformation you've already been in. Does that make sense? It's like you're really being challenged to step into all of these new things at an energetic level before you see the results of it on a physical level. That could continue to be a theme Tuesday and into Wednesday, as the moon is going to add tension to what's going on in your communication styles or your belief systems that's changing, how you're sharing ideas and information. There's big shifts that are occurring there for you, and the moon is going to add tension to that Tuesday and into Wednesday, so that you make the necessary changes to how you're sharing yourself and your ideas and things moving forward. There could be some big internal things that come up that you're realizing, okay, I can't keep facing the same wound in the same way. Like I have to do it differently in order to change it. But it does feel like on Wednesday, there's a breakthrough that comes later in the day, and the emotional focus moves into your career and into, okay, what am I doing about this? What am I maybe restructuring or changing about this that actually feels better for me, that feels more aligned with what I'm stepping into, how I'm changing myself and maturing myself and stepping into this new version of me. And your career is really calling for you to step greater into that. There could be some things you need to really have boundaries around as it relates to people in your external world. There could be, there's okay. This is kind of hard to pin down. It's like whatever's been going on in your outer world, how you're seen in the public, your reputation, your career, right? What you build is your image, is directly challenging what's going on with you and what's changing about you and what new version of you you're stepping into that's really completely different than any version of you have been before. So there's a lot of momentum towards that this week, and it might feel like challenging. It might feel like it's like when a butterfly is learning how to come out of the cocoon, and it has to the process sucks. It's painful to like learn how to fly and like bust itself out of the cocoon to be able to fly, right? But then once it does, it's like it's flying around. It's a butterfly. So silly of an analogy, but that's this energy. It's like growth is challenging. It's not always fun, it's not always comfortable, but it is getting you to where you need to be and who you need to be to have this thing that you want. There's a lot of momentum as well as we end out this week on your long-term goals and visions, and maybe what has changed about that or what you're stepping into as it relates to that. There could be something on later on Friday you get clarity around that you want to step into or set intentions around as it relates to what's going on in your career and some change or big thing you want to create over the next 6 months. Because we have the new moon in Sagittarius in your area of career. So there's a lot of focus on, okay, what has this taught me about what I want to do differently, and be disciplined or committed to stepping into really fully, more so than I had been before. Feels like on Saturday there's a lot of emotional momentum towards that as well, and stepping into this new direction aligned with your vision and with your dreams and with your goals that you have gotten clarity around these last few weeks and months. It feels like they all kind of come to a head this week and over the weekend. Although on Sunday, like I said earlier, they could really challenge an old version of yourself that you're leaving behind, maybe related to how you approached money or how you approached sharing your creative projects or passions, and what has been expanding for you there. And it feels like there's somebody you can lean on at this time to support you when things feel challenging, and maybe give you a final push of inspiration, or bring things into more clarity for you as you start the trajectory towards this big new thing and this this big beginning. So that is how this week shows up for you, Pisces. Let me know in the comments how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Bye.